We started with Barry Allen. He's young, he's innocent, he's a kid. But then his mother is killed by a mysterious man in a yellow suit. Of course, nobody believes him because, he's a kid and it's kind of silly. So they take his father and they blame him for the murder and they send him to jail. He's gonna be a superhero. He needs a tragic backstory. 14 years later, he's working as a scientist at the CCPD. One day, he's laying in his lap. And then, suddenly, he's hit by lightning. Also, at the same time, at nearby Star Labs, a particles accelerator explodes. Barry is sent into a coma, waking up exactly for the October series premiere. Hooray! It is TV time! And Barry is awake now to witness that his adoptive father, Joe West, is there waiting for him, along with Iris West, his adoptive sister and sort of love interest. However, Barry now finds out that he has a few new friends, like Kathleen Snow, who is a bioengineer in Star Labs, and also the super mega scientist Cisco Ramon, who is amazing, geeky, and has the best t-shirts ever. Also, accompanying him now is going to be Harrison Wells. He wants to be Barry's mentor, and he's a legend, and also the guy who blew up Star Labs a few months before. Another person we are introduced to is Eddie Thawne. He's not really important. However, one more thing that we should talk about is that Barry now has superpower. Yeah, superpowers. He can run really, really fast. Like super, super fast. As fast as the plot demands. So, he has now a few new friends, a new mentor, cool new unitar that he can use, and the superpowers. He is ready to live the life of a hero. So, now becoming the Flash, Barry fights classic Flash villains like Captain Cold, or Heatwave, the Mist, Weather Wizard, and a few others, not important ones, who come in for one episode and that's it. However, we must mention two really important ones. One of them is the Trickster, played by Mark Hamill. Hamill used to play the Trickster in the 90s Flash TV show, and he's reprising the role, which is kind of amazing. The second one we should talk about is Gorilla Grodd, who is a telekinetic gorilla that Barry has to fight. I repeat, he's a telekinetic gorilla that Barry has to fight. That is so awesome! So Barry has to fight amazing psychic gorillas, all kinds of villains, and to deal with the regular CW drama, while also trying to find out who's the man in the yellow suit and solve the mystery of the murder of his mother. When he finally confronts the man in the yellow suit, he kind of gets his ass handed to him. However, by the mid-season finale, we, the audience, find out that the man in the yellow suit is actually Harrison Wells. However, Barry can't find out because, you need to keep the season going for a few more episodes. Barry really tries to find out who the man in the yellow suit is, but he can never get him because he's always one step ahead. So, we have Barry, he's a hero, he travels time, he fights psychic gorillas, and he eventually finds out that Harrison Wells is actually evil. His nefarious plan reveals him to be the man in the yellow suit. Barry tries to fight him, but, you have to stretch the season a little longer, so of course he loses. The man in the yellow suit reveals that he's not the real Harrison Wells. He's actually Eobard Thawne, a man from the future, and also a descendant of Eddie Thawne, the non-important boyfriend we talked about a while before. So, he's a speedster, he's from the future, and he's come here to kill Barry. Sort of. He actually killed Barry's mom, and then he got stuck here. So now he's planning to use Barry as a sort of battery kind of thing to send him back to the future. Big mumbo jumbo time travel thingy. We don't really have to keep track. Just enjoy. They're psychic gorillas. Eobard now offers Barry a trade. Barry will help Eobard go back in time, reset the timeline, allowing Barry to save his mother and get his family back. Barry wants to save his mother, so of course he doesn't refuse. But when Barry gets to the past, he sees himself from another timeline fighting the Reverse Flash. So the future Barry tells our Barry not to save his mother because the writers want to milk the scene in the future seasons. Barry sees that he has no choice and travels back to his own time and tries to defeat Reverse Flash. But of course he can, because he hasn't been able to do it all season long and nothing has really changed. But suddenly, a twist! Eddie Thawne, the boyfriend, shoots himself, creating a chain reaction all through Thawne generations, killing every single one of them. But now the timeline is messed up, and there's a giant vortex above the city about to destroy the whole world. So Barry has to run. Fast. Really fast. As fast as he can. Faster than he ever ran before. He runs up buildings, jumping over debris, almost flying to the sky. And then the season ends. Just like that. Leaving us screaming at the screen, just wanting to see how the season ends. And of course, more Gorilla Grodd, because he's awesome.